Good morning to all. Let's welcome Captain Dr. Sukhwinder Kaur, today's speaker. Ma'am is currently working with the Citibank. And let me tell you that ma'am has experience of 30 years. That includes her military experience from year 1994 to 1999. Am I correct, ma'am?
Correct. 5 years.
And then ma'am joined, after leaving army, she joined Hawks International Security Services Private Limited, where she worked with Airtel as well as Tata Teleservices. Thereafter, after her stint at Hawks, she joined Wadia College as a placement head. And thereafter, she joined Amdocs as Administrative Support Manager. She also started a startup. I believe, ma'am, you also had a small
A
startup.
restaurant, yes.
Yes, you also
Paratha
started
Cafe.
Paratha Cafe.
Correct.
So, ma'am also tried her hand in a startup, and then she was with the real estate company and facility at Credit Suisse, ma'am.
Yeah.
And then
Just take a
again,
picture.
she continued with the real estate. ADP, I think manager at real estate facility, ADP. Yes,
Yes.
that's right. That's right. And then OCS Group, and then CLR Facility Services. And finally, now she's at Citibank Vice President, Strategic Programs and Business Management. Ma'am has a doctorate in business law. Correct, ma'am?
Yes.
So, ma'am is a very well educated and extensively experienced person, and now she has a book to her credit also. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. A very good morning to all of you. And thank you so much for joining in on a weekend. For us, I've been working in the IT sector for so many years. So the mindset is 5 days working and then 2 days is non-working. So Saturday, you all have logged in. Thank you so much for that. And thank you for inviting me to share some of the insights from the other side of the table. So, while he has said a lot of stuff, when I look at myself, I still feel I'm, that 23-year-old second lieutenant, all raring to go, and there is so much to do, and so little time. Kya karna hai, kya nahi karna hai. The same kind of enthusiasm and josh, the desire to learn, the desire to still push the limits is as strong. So, in that respect, I think I'm still having the mindset of a second lieutenant. But when it comes to deliverables, when it comes to handling the responsibilities, I think I get into the mindset of the commanding officer. That's where the leadership comes in. So, why am I saying this? Because these are what the skills that will be expected from all of you when you present yourself on the CV street for a job. That when it is the learning, you are a second lieutenant mindset. When it comes to delivering and taking ownership, then you are the commanding officer. So you have to keep, having both the uh, roles merged together. So I have kind of put down in very brief bullet points what am I going to cover in the next 1 hour. So at any given time, you have a question, you have another thought which is contrary to what I'm saying. You're just free to unmute and please speak. We will make it as interactive as possible because you all are veterans. All of you have so much experience in your own field and you have excelled, so I don't think I can teach you anything. I can just share my experience of my transitioning from the military to the corporate. So this is not a teaching session, it's just sharing of experiences. And most of them are my experiences and what I have observed because I have been part of the placement cell in the MBA institutes, right? Couple of them in Pune, and also been recruiting. I think I would have taken close to about 3,000 interviews for different seniorities and roles in the last about 15 odd years. So that's the kind of experience that I have, and I will just summarize that and make it useful for all of you as you are on the threshold of transitioning from the uniform to the CV stream. So is that okay? Does that format make sense to everyone?
Perfect, ma'am.
So, Rohan, would you like to share your screen?
I'll do that, ma'am. I'll just. Can everybody see the screen?
Yes, I can. So you can start the presentation from the first slide.
Yeah.
Just go to the first slide.
I'll just, sorry, ma'am.
Yeah, this one. Okay. So we are here to talk about transition uniform to corporate. And moving to the next slide, which is let's just start by first setting a bit of a context. What are we thinking about? What is it that we are looking for? Why are we looking for this? When are we going to transition? Where and for whom are we doing this transition? And how are we going to do? So these are some of the important questions in any situation or in any plan that you decide to do. So little bit of thought-provoking data, that is almost 60,000, maybe more, leave the Indian forces every year. So apart from all the techies who are joining and all the civilians who are graduating or doing their masters from the IIMs and other Ivy League institutes and joining the bandwagon for employment, there are 60,000 plus people from the forces also who are leaving. That's the kind of competition that you have, and that is why you need to be putting your right foot forward so that you have an edge over the others, right? So let's start with, I would like to understand from a few of you the what, why, and for whom. The three questions I want to understand from you. Anybody, what is it that you are looking for? Why are you transitioning? And for whom are you doing this? For yourself, for your family, for money, for a better career? What's your motivation? So it's open to all. I would just like to hear your thoughts on that.
Can I, ma'am?
Yes. Hi, Anand.
Good morning, ma'am. I'm Lieutenant Colonel Anand. I'm a EME aviation officer. I'm an ex-NDA, so having spent about 25 years plus, I thought it's time that, to settle down at one place. My family has been in Hyderabad for last 10 years, ever since I moved out of 9th flight. And uske baad, parents are also getting aged. So my aim is that I want to pick up a job in Hyderabad till about 55, 56, so that cash flows are constant. And in pension, one can lead his life. For extravaganza, you require to work more. And also your investment in SIPs, etc. must keep going on in the equity market to compound your wealth. And so that by 55, 56, you're done with. And after that, one can, a person like me, I can become an independent financial advisor or something like that. That is what is the thought process with which I plan to leave. But yes, my entire aim is that to be in Hyderabad, and that's what I'm looking at.
So basically, your main motivation is for family and for
Yes.
wealth over and
Yes.
above the pension. Awesome.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Anyone else? See, if you will not talk now, then I wouldn't get more pointers to make my talk more relevant. Okay.
Ma'am,
So take it as a
Ma'am,
practice ground.
ma'am, I'm Rajat. I'm Lieutenant Colonel Rajat Kohli, ma'am. I'm from EME.
Hi.
Ma'am, my aim is I need growth because maybe I'm not getting growth in army now, so I'm looking for growth outside. Another thing is some peaceful life, staying with your family, and maybe constant cash flow, incoming wealth. That's about it, ma'am.
Okay. So everybody can just call me SK. Let's start speaking the corporate lingo. Generally, in all the corporates, they go by first name basis. So I will also just talk to you on first name basis, irrespective of your rank, just to get you familiar with, okay, being called by your first name. And corporate protocol is just first name most of the time. So let's start getting used to it. Call me SK and I'll call you by your first name. Okay. Someone else also raised their hand.
Keshav sir, do you have a question? Smita, please go ahead.
Sir, ma'am, I'm Major Smita.
No, SK. And you are Smita.
Yes, sir. It will take time a little bit, no?
Yeah, start practicing right now. Okay.
So I've put in almost, it's going to be 14 years now in the army. And I'm an SS officer. So as such, my contract was finishing in about 14 years. Now, I had already planned earlier also that once this finishes, I'll transition into the corporate life. But there is nothing like that. I don't love army. I still love uniform. That's why I joined it. But now I want to settle down. We have been transferred from one place to other place. Now I want to settle down at a place with my family, and also I can't see any growth now in myself. What I have been doing in army, I have been still doing, which I used to do almost 7 years back. So my growth has stopped. Now I want to do something which makes me happy and which helps me in my growth, in my career.
Okay, great. So keep it very, very brief, all of you. In the interest of time, just give me 2 sentences. Okay, that's another thing you will have to get used to, being very to the point. No paragraphs, just bullet points. People in the CVs don't have time to listen to essays. They don't even want paragraph. They want bullet point. Do sentence mein batao. So let's start practicing. Yes, Sanju. Sanju Dada is what I can see. I don't know what is the full form. So go ahead, Sanju.
Morning SK, I am Sanjay Dantka level.
Okay.
I have spent almost 4 decades in army.
Okay.
But मैं अपने ऊपर retirement वाला टप्पा नहीं लगाना चाहता.
Okay.
I want to work. That is my aim.
Okay. Second innings.
That is my second inning, but I want to work.
Want to work. Awesome.
Yes.
Okay.
That much.
Excellent. Okay. Yes, Gitanjali. You're on mute. Just unmute yourself.
Good morning, SK. I'm Major Gitanjali. I'm an AC officer. Served around for 12.5 years now. My motivation to join the corporate is just I had this josh to join the army.
You've gone back on mute. Yes.
I hope, have I introduced myself?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Sorry. I basically want to join the corporate world now. The major aim is just to come out in the world now. It's been 12 years. It's a very safe environment in the army, which we have cherished, of course. But now to come out, to see the world, to learn new things, to grow, I don't do anything. But maybe to come out of that very safe environment and learn basically. There's a lot outside. So I've had my time in the organization. New people are coming in. It will anyways work. And I'll always have that association. That's all.
Okay, perfect. All right. Anyone else would like to share?
Manpreet is there. Manpreet.
Yes, Manpreet. Go ahead.
Good morning, SK Commander Manpreet Singh this side.
Good morning.
I have put in 20 years of service in Navy as a technical officer, and the stagnation has made me think that I am not getting challenged in the environment I am working, and that's what has made me to push the limit and go out and venture into the corporate world.
Okay, perfect. Anyone else? Right. Then I'll just quickly, Amit, would you like to say something?
SK, I am Sukhwinder Kaur. I have put in 23 years of service. My daughter, she is studying in University of California, Berkeley. Her expenses are quite on a higher side, you understand that. And and second thing is now my family is split at 3 places. My wife and son are there in Jaipur, and I may get posted out to third place. So our family is split. That's how I want that if I could be with my wife and son and families at 2 places only, and money is of course another factor that I need to consider.
Okay. Okay. Yes. Vineet. Yeah, Vineet, you can go ahead.
Yeah. Good morning, SK.
Good.
This is Vineet. I'm from Air Force. I put in 23 years of service. My primary reason for leaving service is stability and supporting wife in her medical practice. And that was the reason that I left, because she cannot travel with me to various places now. So that's the reason. I'm looking at stability. And whatever way I can contribute in the corporate world.
Okay, great. So I got a flavor of what is it and for whom are we doing it. So let me just summarize, because this is very, very important. The first thing they will ask you is, why do you want to leave the army, right? Or the forces, so to say. So when I say army, I mean army, Air Force, Navy, all three put together. Just that I'm from army, so it comes out more naturally like army. So I have got family reasons, money reasons, end of contract, looking for growth, job enrichment, learning, more challenge, and I still want to work as a second inning. I don't want to, just retire. I have more in me. So there is no right answer or wrong answer. There is just the answer that the interviewer is looking for, right? So hold these thoughts for now. I won't jump into it right away. I will go in my thought process sequence. But some of these, towards the end of it, you will realize some of these should not be spoken as the opening. Some of these should be your openings, and you should build on that. So we will come to it in my subsequent section. But just hold on to this, that the way you have spoken today, if most of you were to speak of this in the interview, trust me, 50% of the interviews would not take you, because that's not the answer they are looking for. They are not taking you on a job to do you a favor and help you. They are here in it for what's in it for them. Everybody is looking at it from their perspective. What is it that they can get? So there is a difference between being honest and confessing the truth and giving the right answer. So we are going to, by the end of the session, I hope I will be able to give you the difference between the two, and you will be able to give the right answers which the interviewer wants to hear. Because why are we actually doing all of this? Is to land a job. And we land a job when the interviewer is convinced that you are the right candidate. Your good, bad is not important. What is important? Does the interviewer get convinced you are the right candidate? And how would the interviewer get convinced? That's the perspective I will bring to the table in the next 1 hour. Agreed? So let's move forward to the next slide. Yes. So I'll start by busting some of the myths that most of people who are transitioning from the forces would have. I'm not saying you all would also have all of these, but then yeah, this is what I have seen, because I would have interviewed, out of the people that I have interviewed so far, at least 40% have been from the forces. Okay, and this is what we generally observe, and I want to call out here at the beginning so that you don't hold on to these myths from this very moment. Break it and give it up. The first one is that people from the forces always have the mindset of, I know everything, or I am elite. Obviously, absolutely we are elite. However, when I am an interviewer, I'm looking at that mindset that this is going to be a roadblock to trainability. You remember when we went for our SSB, one of the qualities that we all displayed, and that's why we got selected, was, is this guy or this girl trainable? So same thing, even the HR and your hiring manager would be looking at is, do you have the trainability? Because this is No, let's just go back.
Sorry.
Yeah. So the know-all and the elite mindset is one of the myths that I know everything. Excuse me, you know everything about the forces, but you are launching into a new career, which is the civilian world, and we really don't know about it. So whatever you say or do must demonstrate that while I come from an elite class of professionals, I am open to learning and I'm going to welcome anything new that I can pick up. That's why now here I will link it to all those who said learning is one of the reasons, and more challenging or more job enrichment is what I'm looking for, is an excellent way of conveying this. That while I have done 20 years and done a damn good job of it, but now I want to enrich the job content. I want to have more challenge in my job and I want to learn more. And I think that now I would like to step out of the uniform if I need to learn more. So the hunger for learning, but having done an elite job, that is what you need to show. Okay. And then the second myth is one size fits all. I made one CV, made 100 copies and sent an email to BCC में डाल के 100 लोगों को भेज दिया, हो गया. No, it doesn't fit like that. And one set of questions, I have prepared my answers, I will keep speaking. No, it doesn't happen like that. Depending upon the sector that you work in, depending upon the role that you are applying for, depending upon the seniority that the level at which you are aiming to enter, you will every time have to customize your responses, customize your CV in such a way that they get the keywords that they are looking. More about this when I talk about resume building, but remember, one size fits all, that is a myth, it is not true. Then the most important, my rank and baggage. I am brigadier so and so, I am colonel so and so, I have worked 30 years in the army or air force or navy, or I have done maybe 20 years and I have been Sena medal or other decorations. That was your appreciation for the role that you did. The moment you hang the uniform, it's a thing of the past. So one of my bosses in AMDOCS in 2012, when I joined AMDOCS, and he was also ex-army short service, about 4 years senior to me, and that is the time he had told me, Sukhwinder, every year you will start with a blank slate, and the whole year, whatever you do, apart from your BAU, that is business as usual job role, you keep writing on that whiteboard. At the end of the year, I'm going to look at all the new and extra and value add and give you the incentive, increment, and appraisal. And then I'm going to wipe that clean for the next year. You will have to rewrite new stuff on that board. Past glory and success will not let you sail into the future. And that is very relevant for us when we are transitioning as well. With all due respect to the rank, don't carry that baggage with you. That's why I said the first thing, start practicing. I'm SK. I may be introduced as Captain Dr. Sukhwinder, but when I'm sitting and working there, when I'm facing an interview, I'm just SK. I have done all of this and I can bring this to the table and I'm looking for doing this for the organization. I don't go there saying, Meri ye needs hai, isliye main aa raha hu. No, you need this and I have this skill set. And when you talk about that, then they see how you are useful for them. So one more myth, your rank and baggage, nobody, after the first initial respect, how do we have, value and respect people in uniform, they will say, wo wahan par tha. You earned your salary and everything. Yahan par kya dene wale? So don't carry that baggage. Use that experience to demonstrate how you will be a valuable asset. So difference between baggage and being an asset, I hope I'm able to highlight that to you. Okay, keep that in mind. This is very important. A lot of people get rejected. Very senior guys who are very well decorated, have done a lot of action, lot of foreign posting, lot of courses, very high flying, but they do get rejected because वो बोलते हैं यार ये ना अपने फौज के हवा में ही रहता है, ये हमारे blend नहीं होगा. Every organization looks at people who will blend into their culture. So So if you carry that baggage with you, they will look at you as you're not going to fit in. And we want to fit in, right? So that's why I put this here. Then focus on the pay package. Most of you said, well, and yes, even in the HR, they all know that most of you would get a pension. They surprisingly don't even know कि 5 years people don't have any pension, we get a gratuity. They all think फौज जो भी छोड़ता है उसको pension मिलती है. They use that as a bargaining tool to bring you down on your salary. So while salary is a very important piece, that should not be your interview agenda. Okay, you should never speak about money. That money is your goal. Salary is what you're looking at. Over and above pension is what you're looking at. You have financial commitments and therefore you're looking at. Never. Don't ever try and put a price tag to what you bring, because what you bring to the table is priceless. The moment you start talking about money, they will start talking about negotiation and they will forget about your skills and what you bring to the table. I hope I'm clear on this. Then, many of the time I have seen a lot of officers, they think if they can speak in English very well, they are smooth talker, they will get the gig. अरे मैं ऐसे बोलूँगा और interviewer को तो मैं ऐसे ही घुमा दूँगा. It doesn't work like that, because the people sitting there haven't gotten to that chair simply by, having godfathers around. They have seen 1,001 people with smooth talking and then not able to deliver. So yes, it is very essential to speak well, but that should be to communicate your skill set and what is it that you have special that nobody else had, and why should they hire you, and not कि मैं घुमा दूंगा. So just having good English skills is not necessary. Having the right keywords to convey that I am the most suited for the job is what is required. So understand the difference between smooth talking and right talking. Okay. Then military ethos and corporate ethos. Another one. They say it is same. In the military, these are the values we believe in. This is what we do, and it's the same. No. In the corporate, there's a different kind of an ethos. We'll talk about that subsequently. But for this slide, suffice to know, the ethos that we work with and the ethics that we follow in the military is not necessarily Xerox and a copy paste in the corporate world. There are different value systems, different things that are given priority and ranking in the order of priority as well. And last one, with that unfinished aspirations from military. Even if you are leaving army or air force because you are disgruntled, because you're dissatisfied, because you're unhappy, never ever speak that, because we don't say, I was not getting what I wanted, there was no growth for me and that's why I'm coming here. No, that means you are showing disrespect and disgruntlement towards the organization that has given you your identity. Your identity is you're a veteran and you are already a cut above the rest. The moment you talk about dissatisfaction, disgruntlement, you're discrediting your alma mater and your military organization. Therefore, you're showing that you're not loyal to that uniform and that organization that gave you an identity. So do not speak anything negative, derogatory, anything that shows that you were not happy. Always carry the pride and the good things. The bad things need not be spoken. Let them remain within you. Remember, that's not a confessional. It's a way you're selling yourself for that job. So sell yourself on the positive things. Don't sell yourself by undermining the organization that has given you this launchpad. Keep these things, because organization, especially senior leadership, will take this very seriously. That जो 20 साल फौज में काम करके आया और अभी फौज की बजा रहा है, वो हमारे साथ भी क्या 1 साल में डिसग्रंटल होगा, छोड़ के जाएगा. So this person is ungrateful. This person is not loyal. So that will go against you. They may not say anything to you. They'll just smile at you, maybe even agree with you, but they will not select. So keep that in mind. These are very, very subtle, because we are not looking at junior executive level roles for us. We are looking at leadership roles for all of us. And a leader is always the one who carries the mantle of the organization, not discredits the organization, right? So let's move to the next one. So walking the CV street. One second. Yeah. So what is expected? So there would be so many things that could come under this heading, but I have just put across the top things that anybody would look at. Your hiring manager and your HR head would look at these top things most of the time. So keep this ready with you, practice on these, build on these, and these should come out in your CV, in your telephonic interview, in your face-to-face interview, and any conversation that you might have. You need to communicate these aspects because this is what they are looking for. So first and foremost, they are looking for honesty, but don't oversell yourself. There is a borderline between being honest and upfront and being too frank and open that people start seeing things that you don't want them to see. So be honest, but don't oversell. अगर आपने 500 लोगों को मैनेज किया तो एक जीरो लगा के 5000 मत बनाइए. If you've just been a company commander, don't show like you were a brigade commander, because there are a lot of people who do that. And now, because veterans are all over the corporate, invariably somebody or the other would either be a veteran in your interview panel or know of some veterans, and they do have their fact trait. And if the moment they find that there is something wrong in what you said, your honesty and integrity will be under question mark, and they will say no, because one of the topmost qualities of leadership is integrity and honesty. So don't oversell, be truthful, but don't be so truthful that you bear everything. Remember, again and again, I keep saying it's not a confessional. You just sell yourself with whatever you want to showcase, the best in you. Second, they are looking for coachability or trainability. I hope I got the spelling right. Yes. So are you coachable and trainable, or are you too rigid that you're carrying all the bag and saying, I know everything, मेरे को अब तुम मुझे क्या सिखाओगे, मैं आऊंगा मैं सब change कर दूंगा, मुझे पता है कैसे होता है, and all of that. I have seen so many times veterans getting into these conversations, and then they restrict their own opportunities of employment, and even if they get employed, they restrict their chances of growth because उनको लगता है अरे ये तो बहुत rigid है. So he is not open to learning or change. He is not trainable. He doesn't blend with us. So let him remain where he is. Diversity के लिए हमने hire कर लिया, but we are not going to give him a growth path, him or her. So coachability, trainability, they are looking for. Then they're looking for sense of ownership. So when you speak, don't speak the word ownership. Have one or two small incidents in your mind that you can demonstrate that over the years when I was in the uniform, these were some of the highlights that I did, and this brought out my sense of ownership. So don't use the word I have a lot of ownership, I have a lot of ownership. Don't use these words, but in your mind, have those highlight incidents that will bring out your sense of ownership. And then knowledge. Knowledge of what is the role that you're looking for. So if you're looking for admin, then what all comes under admin? Often enough, military people don't know the difference between admin and management, don't know the difference between admin and HR, don't know the difference between admin, L&D, facility management, and real estate or security. They think admin matlab everything. It's not Adam officer here. There's a difference. So understand these connotations and the technology that they are looking for. So if you are aiming for a banking sector, then banks, what is the technology that they are using now? What all software are they using now? Where do you fit in? And basic MS Office, do you know how to work on PPT, how to make Excel sheets? Can you make pivots, and do you know VLOOKUP? Because those are the things you will be doing on a daily basis. So having the right skill set and knowledge, not just the mindset, but the knowledge and skill set. Also, if you go for an interview, let's say you go for an interview to one of the top IT companies. So who are their competition? Any news about this company in the last 3 months? Read about their organization, top leadership, visit their website, know about their kind of business, their top 5 clients, their business share globally, their footprint in India, when did they start in India. So knowledge and being prepared, and then when you speak you can demonstrate. Like when I went for my city interview, and one of the things that the site head asked me was that why would you want to work with us. So I said I went to Glassdoor and I looked at all the employee feedback, and I looked at the feedback of employees who have left city and saw that your rating is more than average. And I said, if past employees are giving this kind of rating, that means there is something good. So he said, oh, is it? What is the average rating? I'm curious to know because I haven't seen it in the last 3 months. So I said, on a scale of 5, I think your average rating is 3.8. So he said, oh, it has gone up by 2 points. The last time I checked, it was 3.6. So that's how I demonstrated that I know what I'm talking about. When I say I want to work here, why I want to work here, it's based on some knowledge and not some angrezi. So smooth talking didn't help me, but this knowledge and this research helped me. So keep that in mind. This is very, very important. Even when I interview somebody, the first thing I do, did you check our website? Did you read our website? And 50% of the time people shake their head and say no. And then I feel, oh my God, you're coming to work with me, you don't even bother to read our website. And if they do, then I ask them, okay, what were the 3 things that caught your interest? Can you tell me the 2 top leaders globally for our organization? And that's my way of checking, did they really visit the website or no? So knowledge, that is what I'm talking about, knowledge, not just knowing RV, but knowing where you're getting it. And wherever you don't know, you say, at this stage, I don't know, but I'm happy to learn and I'm a quick learner. Then understand the role. What is the role you are applying for? किसी ने बोला वहाँ एक opportunity है, veteran को देख रहे हैं, डाल मेरा CV, पहुंच गए interview के लिए, पता ही नहीं हो क्या रहा है, right? Again, in security, most of the time people think Fauji's are best fitted for security. Security also, there are 4-5 different verticals in security. Which one are you looking at? Why are you looking at that? What is the knowledge and experience you have in that? So deep dive into the role, understand that. So are you going for physical security? Are you going for cyber security? Are you going for network security? Are you going for the compliance and risk, that kind of security? Or are you going for any disaster management kind of a role? What is the role you're going for? How do you fit in? What knowledge do you have? That's what is expected of you, because you're a leader with almost 15 years of service of the defense under you. So you're not a fresher to say, I don't know, or I just came, or my friend referred me. That would be very poor show. Okay. Then bringing values of the uniform. So what values from the uniform do you bring to the table? That will be either they will ask you that directly, or indirectly they may be looking at. So make a list of the top 5 things that you have picked up from the army as a professional, and make sure you talk about those with probably a 2 sentences example of how you bring those values of the uniform. Of course, then leadership, logical thinking, a team player, and adaptability. Although they say फौजी की तरह जुगाड़ करने वाला कोई भी नहीं होता, we adapt to anything and everything. But when you're talking, you come across as very rigid. I know everything. मुझे सब पता नहीं, ऐसे ही होता नहीं. I will tell you, no, I am a very this thing. So you will come across as the not a team player, a very rigid person, and not adapting to new challenges and situations. So what you speak and what you demonstrate, so the verbal and non-verbal, they will clash, and most of the time people will choose to listen to the non-verbal and not the verbal or what is written in your CV. You will get rejected, and they won't even tell you why they rejected. So keep these points in mind. At the end of this, this PPT is already with Rohan. So all of you can take a copy of this, keep reading, rereading, refer back to this, and you can anytime ping me or message me or email me your queries. I'll be happy to help. But for sure, don't mess up on this slide because this is very, very important. For the mid-level to senior level management position that you're looking at, these are the things that are basics expected of you. Okay, moving to the next slide. You can ask me questions anytime, okay? Right now, I can't see the video. I can only see the screen, the PPT here. So I can't see any of you.
There is one question which is there. Vineet, you have a question?
Yeah, just unmute and speak because I'm
yes,
just looking at my screen. Okay? Yeah.
Ma'am, I mean, sorry, SK,
SK.
I have a query with regard to one point in the previous slide with regard
Okay.
to coachability.
Okay.
A small query which I want to put across is how much time do you think that an organization, it may be any industry, will give an armed forces officer with about 20 years of service to achieve the coachability or trainability desired standards which they want? Is it like on the job for a longer period for about 6 months or 1 year, or do they expect you to come to terms within about 3 months? Why I'm asking you this is because we also go across to various tenures after every 2 or 3 years, and we are expected to get into the groove within about 3 months. Like, I'll give you an example, ma'am. Like we do, I may be doing a staff appointment in training. The next appointment may be in as a Colonel A. So we are expected to get into the groove in about 3 months. But in an organization, how much time would they give us, or they expect us to fall in place? Thank you, ma'am.
So when I said coachability, they are only looking at that. Are you open to training and being coached? Okay, that is what they are looking at. So, or are you rigid कि मेरे को तो सब आता है, मुझे कौन सिखाएगा? So they are just looking for that attitude. And once they hire you, they are convinced that yes, they can mold you and coach you and train you. You are open to learning and training. Then generally they give you in any organization 3 months is a minimum settling in period. They call it the the cooling period, where you will learn everything about the organization and learn how things work, who's who, what is the hierarchy, who are my clients. No, so it's a terrain familiarization as we speak, and it's a funnel from the bottom, from the top to the bottom. So 3 months to 6 months is what generally everybody gives. Most organizations, that's why we'll have a probation period also of 6 months. Unlike my company here, they give you a permanent role from the day one. There is no concept of probation, but they're one of the few. Most of the companies would have a 6 months probation. So to your query, 6 months is what they will give you. Thereafter, they will decide. But generally, a 3 months period is good enough if you're average, officer. So they will give you a 3 months time. And after 3 months, if you start showing, I picked up this, okay, I can do this. Wow, you've already gone ahead of the race and you've exceeded their expectation and brought the wow factor. And then life is a cakewalk. Okay. So 3 to 6 months is what they will give you.
Thank you.
Interview, they are only looking at the attitude. Do you have the attitude of being open to coaching training or not? Okay. Yes.
A small doubt from my side, SK. This is with respect to when you said when you go, you have to know what role they're offering you.
Yes.
A lot of roles, as you had brought out, that management over there is different from what we know as management or what we know as facility management, or
Correct.
we know what as administration or establishment or whatever it may be, or in
Correct.
the finance side. Now, we are going with a background, and they also know that we don't have the knowledge.
Absolutely.
And one of the points you gave is your adaptability to learn. And as you also mentioned very correctly, that our situation reaction test, our adaptability is what made us pass through the SSB interview.
Yes.
And in this case, when we answer such questions, okay, I can read about a website, I can know about them. But how do I know I fit to that role? Because like in my case, I'm an ex-NDA.
So I'll give you an
the
answer.
knowledge.
Sorry. I will give you the answer. I got your question. How would you know about the role? Whenever you are applying for a role, before you apply, there is always a JD, job description. Read the job description word to word, understand what they are looking for. Wherever you don't understand, there will always be a talent acquisition team member who will give you a call and say, hey, I got your CV and have you understood the role? That's your opportunity to ask the questions where you don't have. So, and you don't even have to wait for them. Before you apply, you would have a network of friends. Some of them are already working in that. Otherwise, you go on LinkedIn and type this, what are the key skills required for this? So do your homework and know what you are getting into. Sometimes you are looking at something else and the organization means something else, like management and administration. We think management is senior to administration, or administration is senior to management. There again, organization to organization also it differs. So how do I know what role is the JD? Mostly everybody, when they're opening up a position, they have a JD attached. Read the JD end to end, ask questions from their organization or from your peer group or your network. Be clear. Then you customize your CV as per that JD. Tailor make it. तो एक आपने स्टैंडर्ड सूट का कटिंग करके रखा है, जिधर जाना है जिस फंक्शन में आप मोटे पतले हो रहे हैं तो उसी हिसाब से थोड़ा ऑल्टरेशन करके फिर भेजो. So I have given you a JD with 10 key skills. 5 are must have and 5 are good to have. So when the must have should be in my CV in bold. So I will do a matchup because the first screening is done by the talent acquisition team or the recruiters. Recruiters don't know much about the job. उनको हायरिंग मैनेजर ने जेडी दे दिया, उसमें बोला ये होना चाहिए, ये हुआ तो अच्छा है. तो वो होना चाहिए देखेगा है क्या, and he'll push it for an interview. He's not the hiring manager, so he may be also quite blind, right? So ease their job and make sure your success rate is higher by understanding the JD, and must have should be somewhere figuring as keywords in your CV. That's why I said one size fits all. 100 कॉपी छाप के BCC में मेल कभी भी मत डालो. Individually customize it into that. I hope I'm clear now.
To a certain extent, yes. But when we read the job descriptions, like for a particular organ, they say we want business strategy ahead. But when somebody says, I want to know business strategy ahead, like for example, let us take your organization, Citibank. Citibank today has, whatever I know a little bit, I may not know much. We only know that it has wound up most of the operations. You are not into retail banking. You have handed over your credit cards to Axis, and Axis has taken over.
No, only the retail bank, not the credit card.
Okay. So I'll come to those questions later. That is my personal interest. But so when they say that we want to develop business in India, so I have to know what Citibank is doing. So develop business means, are you handling HNI? Are you handling wealth management for institutions? And a person like us who does not have a formal financial background, then how do you? It's like we wanted that if you could give an example. It would probably, I'm not saying that it will fit all, but it would probably help us to understand.
Okay.
That's okay.
So just park the question for now. Once I finish my presentation, I think more or less your doubts would be cleared. And thereafter, I will, if there is something still unanswered, I will attempt to clear that. Okay. So after we have seen what the CV street is looking for and some of the myths that we have busted, okay, now let's look at how does one bridge this gap from the transitioning from military to CV. First and foremost, know yourself. Before knowing the organization, the market, the industry, and anything and everything else, it is very important to do your own SWOT analysis. And along with SWOT analysis, I'm sure you would have heard of the Johari window. So do that as well for yourself. Identify your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your blind spots. What is it that you don't see but others are able to see? So once you do a very solid SWOT analysis, you will learn to start speaking your strengths. You work on your weaknesses, and then opportunities will keep on changing, okay, with the changing time and changing market. And you may be interested in different sectors, so opportunities in different sectors would be different. But knowing yourself, knowing your strengths and weaknesses and your blind spots is one of the first steps that you need to do before even you prepare your CV. Because once you know yourself, then only you can sell. जब तू अपना product ही पता नहीं उसको बेचने कैसे निकलोगे market में? And this is a market. People are here to shop for heads, and you are one of the heads who's there for up for sale. But how will you tell others that these are the features in me because of which you should take me? So SWOT analysis is the first thing. You do that very, very sincerely. Then out of that, which ones you should put in your CV, which need not be shared in the CV. What are your talking points? And don't load the CV so much. When I come to the CV, I'll tell you, what are the key things for a CV. But just remember here, everything that you found out in the SWOT doesn't have to go into the CV. वो अपना क्या बोलते हैं ना जन्म कुंडली नहीं है. It's just the pass key to open that door. Thereafter, you will go and speak. So do the SWOT analysis first thing. Spend some time, maybe a week, 10 days in doing this SWOT. And when you're very clear, okay, I've covered everything, then get down to making your CV. Then seek the right help. Okay, seeking help nahi, seeking the right help, because there'll be a lot of people who have half-cocked knowledge and they will give you their own half-cocked perspective, and that will totally confuse you. So the way I go about in all these years, and it has worked beautifully for me, is I only seek out one or two people who actually have a proven track record in that subject or in that field, and I go and talk to them. And I don't talk to every sundry person so that they confuse the hell out of me, and then I get biased and totally unsure of what to do. And who better to understand the gut instinct than a Fauji? Always trust your instinct. If your instinct tells you this is right, most of the time trust your instinct. Just as a reference, cross check, speak to one or two people, and those one or two people must have some knowledge in that field. Simply because अरे वो civilian role में 10 साल से काम कर रहा है, but he may be working in cyber security. You are looking for a role in probably business analytics in the BFSI sector. Is he the right person to guide you? No, because a lot of time when you get into the corporate, you're very role specific. In the army, you're one man and knows all, but in the civil, it's not so. So seek the right help and then have a plan. In the beginning, when I spoke to all of you, one of the things I wanted to see was that although you all are almost at the end of your 6 months course and you all know that you have to leave, how many of you actually have a very clear plan? Unfortunately, I didn't see a very clear plan. It was a very hazy, I want to do this. But a plan is not a hazy vision or a mission or a dream. A plan is actually having objectives, milestones, measurable, time defined, and smart. But that is still not visible to me. Maybe you have, maybe you don't. But now, after this, make a plan. Make a plan 3 months down the line. This is what I want to do. 6 months down the line, this is what I want to do. And how I will achieve that, and who will help me, and what's the outcome that I expect. Make that and write that down. Okay. Then learn about the sectors of your interest and your dream companies. Make a list of 10 to 15 dream companies that you have. In those dream companies, which sectors are they falling in? Read in the news and on the websites, on the internet, all about that sector, those companies, and then get a clarity in which direction are they going? What are their plans 10 years down the line, and where can I fit in there? Be open to help and learning. Speak the corporate language. So stop speaking the the military jargon, and start learning how people speak in the corporate. The first one being first name basis. When you introduce, after the first time you give your rank, thereafter say, call me and first name. Because most of the time, no, corporates are very unsure. ये तो brigadier साहब है, इनको कैसे बुलाने का, that he doesn't get disrespected. So get them out of that discomfort and uncertainty and tell them, I'll be happy if you talk to me on first name basis. That shows them that you're open, you're not carrying a baggage, and you understood without being told that the person is wanting clarity and you offer that. You are sensitive and aware of how to, and you have the leadership in you to take charge of a situation or a conversation. In just one thing, it communicates so many things to the interviewer. Then build and keep a network, not just 4G network, corporate network. Start searching on LinkedIn. If you have identified an industry, if you have identified some of your dream companies, look on LinkedIn, the people who are there. Okay. And my personal experiences, 4Gs don't help 4Gs. They are the last ones to help. Very few of them would actually support. Others will say, "मैं मेरे position में safe हूँ. Why would I invite someone and invent a threat for myself?" So build a network outside the 4Gs who have come into the civilian and reach out to them, send requests to them, connect with them, learn about them, see their CV, see their profile, pick up those keywords, and that's how you will not only build your network, you will also become more in sync with the corporate. Keep updating your CV for each job. Every 2 years, I update my CV whether I'm applying for a job or no. Every 2 years, I would have 2 years more of work that I have done, things that I have achieved. I keep updating every 2 years and I update on LinkedIn every 1 year. पिछले साल में क्या किया वो डाल दो. This job I got thanks to LinkedIn. Couple of other things in my life very fantastic have happened thanks to LinkedIn. So keep updating your CV. Even now when you are applying for every job, I've already mentioned that, update your CV for every job, customize it and upskill. Upskill in terms of which companies, which sectors you want, what are the basic skill sets they require, and can I do these online courses? Nobody's looking at ये कहाँ से किया ये certificate. आता है क्या? Yes, no, good enough. Okay, so upskill yourself, learn MS Office, learn a course on Excel. If you can learn on Power BI, how to make dashboards, that's a very important skill because a leader these days is all about crunching bulk data into meaningful information and presenting so that you can take strategic decisions. So upskilling, so one of the ones is Power BI, Tableau is another one, SharePoint is another one. These are the things you will use on a daily basis. फिर वहां जाकर आप बोलोगे मुझे सिखा दो, then you yourself will take more time, right? So have these skills handy. This guy is already ready. So again, the wow factor will come in. You will stand a cut above the rest. And have mock interviews, as many as possible. All of you can buddy up in pairs or have it in groups. But the more number of mock interviews you do, the more smooth and naturally your answers will come up. So this is some of the basics. I don't think you would find them in any textbook or anything, but this is what I have built from my personal experience. And do this. And most important is the first one, a SWOT analysis, and the second last one, that is upskill. Okay, and skills for different roles, different companies, different sectors would be different. That's why I've not put anything, but I've given you a few pointers of what are required across sectors and organizations. Okay, we move to the next one.
Good morning, ma'am. Can you hear me, ma'am?
Yes.
Ma'am, I'm Karan Matagara, and I'll be retiring soon in the month of February next year.
Okay.
Though you have answered 90% of my queries in your answer to the previous question, remaining 10% is being that now that I'll be retiring at 54, and I'm in that group where people are scarce and it's tougher to get a job in the corporate world.
Okay.
And what should I be really focusing on? Means at this point of time, I got a few medical liabilities at home. Wife has a brain tumor. Son is fighting blood cancer. So I have to get hold of a job just to save up more for the rainy day.
Understood.
So
first and foremost, some organizations have 60 years as the retirement, and
Yes,
thereafter they take you on as a consultant. They don't, if you're really talented, they will say you continue as a consultant. So 60 is the common retirement age, but there are certain organizations that even allow you to work up to 80. Okay, So certain MNCs also after 60 also you can continue right up to 80 years of age. I have got this role when I'm now 52 and a half. So people after 40 say कि अब तो तुम pension plan कर लो, corporate maybe you don't switch, you're an idiot. But I switched at 52 and I got a much better jump in terms of role and salary as well. So that's another myth. Age is not the restriction. If you can highlight the value that you bring to the table and how you can contribute to the organization, then age is not a roadblock, number one. And number two is whenever you will go for an interview, do not talk from the position of need. Always talk from the position of I have all of this to offer. Okay, and are you willing to give me the chance when this is what I bring to the table. So don't go for, I have liabilities or I have responsibilities. The reason I'm coming here is you need somebody to do this for you. I am the best person for this job. Focus only and only on the job role and how you fit the bill the best compared to anybody else. And once they are convinced of that, then we go on to salary negotiations. Okay. So there's nothing about being 54 and क्या होगा ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है. That age is just a number. The more senior you are, they say the wine and whiskey जितनी पुरानी होती है उतनी और अच्छी होती है, उसकी value और pricing उतनी बढ़ जाती है. So I strongly believe in that. And maybe we could speak later one-on-one specifically. I could help you with how to position yourself. Okay. But that's not a handicap and that's in no way a roadblock for you. That is all I want you to carry from this session.
Thank you, ma'am. That was pretty reassuring, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Right. So now we will just focus a little bit upon building the resume, which I think that a lot you would have already done. I'm sure you would have had enough of sessions as well. I will just give you my 2 pence. Maybe some of it would be repetitive, but I would just like to share. Most importantly, when you build your resume, is less is more. Resume is not your janam kundli, like I said, ke birth se leke abhi tak pura batao. Nobody has the time. Nobody has the patience. And as you go today, the average age of an HR manager is 25 to 30 years. So they are in that generation, which is the Insta generation. 1 minute reels, 30 seconds reel, attention span is very less. So any resume which is more than 2 pages, nobody will read. So I have attached my CV as well here. It's a 2-pager. So the more senior you get, the shorter and brief is your resume. That's the art. So when you after the session go back to your laptops, open your resume and look at it. Nobody's resume should exceed max to max 2 pages. If you can condense it into 1 page, excellent. Because किसी के पास time नहीं है. The talent acquisition team on a daily basis in any good multinational would be looking at least 100 CVs to 200 CVs per day. So who has the time to look at something more than 2 pages? 2 pages bhi bahut ho gaya. So I have given you my 2-pager profile here. Look at it. If with 30 years of experience and working across so many sectors and organizations, I can crisp it down to 2 pages, I'm sure everybody can. Okay? Because your career is only and only army or the defense. So it cannot in any way go for more than 1.5 pages. That's the one. So less is more is the mantra. More is good. No. Less is more. How to write less, convey more. That's the key. So see and I'm not saying this is the best and copy paste this. It'll just give you an idea what I'm talking about because we have a time limit of 1 hour. So I wouldn't like to, walk you through it. I think we are already at 12 o'clock. So I won't go into the detail. Just remember less is more, customize it, keep it very, very simple. Don't have any jargon or acronyms and it should be in chronological sequence with the latest one at the top and then going back to the first one. So my CLR job role would be the first. and my army would be my last one. So in the reverse chronological sequence, we built that. And more about it, just click on that and look at my CV, and you will get an idea of what I'm talking about. So I'm mindful of the time. That's why I would just like to rush a little bit and move to the next slide. I'll try and wind up in the next 5 minutes. If you can just give me 5 minutes more. Okay. So a few more pertinent aspects. Some of the interview pointers, I think I've already mentioned that during the course of my conversation. So in the interest of time, I won't say anything more here. Then common opportunities for veterans. This was another question that was asked. So most of the time, just give me 1 second. There is somebody desperately trying to call. Just 1 second, please. Hello. Anji. Anji, bolje. हाँ 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 ओके मैंने वो जो आपके जैसे साहब का फोन आया था उनको मेरा लोकेशन भेजा है और एड्रेस भी भेजा है उनसे आप व्हाट्सएप पे ले लो उनको मैंने व्हाट्सएप पे लोकेशन और मेरा एड्रेस फ्लैट नंबर सब भेजा ठीक ओके my bad apologies for that. Okay, so some of the common opportunities: admin, security, risk, and compliance. There are 3 different buckets. It's not the same. So I won't get into the details of that here. We can speak about that later. CRE WPS. So that is known as Corporate Real Estate and Workplace Solutions. Facility management is just one piece of it. Most of the time people think facility management, that's it. It's much more than that. It's all about project management. And yes, so my contact and everything is there on the last slide. So once we move to that, you'll be able to see. Okay. So CRE WPS, that's my domain, corporate real estate and workplace solutions. So right from leasing of the property to the project management fit outs, and then to managing that property from a engineering and a soft services perspective, and transport and security, everything forms part of this group called CRE WPS. Facility management or FM is just one small vertical in that. Then business analytics in the BFSI, that is banking and financial services institution sector. Business analytics is one where in my current company also we are hiring a lot of veterans at the AVP role for analytics. So they get a lot of data, they need to analyze that and present. That's why I said if you can learn Power BI and dashboards and Tableau and these kind of analytic tools, you could very easily fit into this because the mindset is already there. But you need to know the IT tools that you will use. Okay. Then some of the common skills required: soft skills, behavioral skills, and technical skills. So for each of these sectors and roles, different technical skills would be required, but soft skills and behavioral skills are common to all. Leadership skills, communication, written, verbal, and all of that. Being 4Gs, I don't need to talk about that. I'm sure all of you are already there. Technical skills is what you need to identify. So when you do your SWOT and choose which sector and which kind of opportunity or role that you would look for, or the vertical you would look for, then what are the technical skills? You can search on Google, you will find a whole deal. And if you can't understand, you can always drop me a mail or a message. I will give you whatever I know. Okay. Last piece, how do we look for jobs? Very nice. Now we are all ready and set. We are prepared. I have my CV. I have the skill set. I know the knowledge. I've done my mock interview, everything. How do I start looking for jobs? First and foremost, in your network. Your network should not be just 4Gs. Your network should be a lot of corporates as well. How do you build your network? LinkedIn. A lot of people keep sending connection requests. Connect with the right kind of people who will actually help you. Link with them. Go to the websites and organization websites. They have job postings. Like City hires only through the job postings on the website. Most of the good multinationals would have the jobs postings on their websites. Then these job portals are also a good idea. Naukri and Monster both are very good, and they even have special schemes for veterans. And then others through your personal word of mouth, किसी ने बताया वहाँ पर है, or that kind of a word of mouth network. But the top three, if I were to rank, the first one would be organization websites, the jobs listed there. Second one would be LinkedIn, and the third one would be networks. Build your network, they will help you. And when it comes through a referral, especially senior leadership roles, very rarely they will go around fishing in the market, they will use referrals. And if you can look for the top 5, headhunting organizations in India and reach out to them and pay them if required, that will be the best, because those headhunters are the ones who are reached out by good organizations, because we have a certain amount of screening and trust factor involved rather than directly somebody sending me a CV. I would much rather go through an agency. So look for the top 5, top 10 headhunting agencies pan India in that particular sector and reach out to them and engage their services. Okay. But before all of that, do your SWOT analysis, choose your industry, choose your which vertical you want to go for, build your CV, and then start reaching out to all. Because आप इधर लिखोगे बोलेगा CV भेज, CV भेजने में अगर आप 10 दिन लगाओगे वो बोलेगा अरे this guy is very slow. 10 दिन क्यों लगे? Because we have to build on it. So first build, be ready, then go for all these, right? So that's the sequence we should follow. Okay, I think with that, I am done. If we can just move to the next slide. I think this was the last one. So I would just like to mention here, like Rohan mentioned at the beginning, I have just written my first book, Morphing into a Leader. Took me about 30 years to write, because I think that I have become a kind of a impactful, effective leader. So my 26 short stories, some of them from my army and some of them from my other corporate jobs put together. It's available on Amazon. So if you're interested to read more, it's a very thin book, 150 pages. Please order on Amazon, read it, and if you like it, do give me a review there. Here are my contacts on LinkedIn. I'm there on YouTube as well. I have my own channel, and I'm there on Instagram, and that's my email ID. If you have any queries, you can even drop me an email and I shall get back to you ASAP. So that's it from my side. Thank you so much for your patience. Thank you so much for all the interesting questions. And thanks for inviting.
We'll 10 minutes, we'll take some questions, ma'am, and then we'll be off. And one photograph. If
you have time, I'm okay to.
Yeah, we have time all the time in the world. We can first click a photograph. I'll request everyone to please switch on their cameras.
Yeah, and you would share this with me, right?
It will be on LinkedIn. It will be shared with you. Otherwise, also I'll share with you separately.
Okay, on an email so that I can just share it with my boss.
Yeah, sure. Okay, smile, please. One more. Yeah. Okay, guys, you can ask questions one by one. Please raise your hands. We have 10 minutes.
Yes, Manjunath. I think you raised your hand.
No,
I raised my hand, ma'am. I'd given a set of questions to T.S. Anand here. I'd given a set of questions to Rohan. I don't know if he'd shared it with you.
I'll share it with you, ma'am, in due course of time.
I can drop you an email with my responses.
I'll send a mail to you, ma'am.
Done. Okay. Yes, Saurav Bhattacharya.
Ma'am, good morning. And firstly, ma'am,
SK. You have to call her SK.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. It will take some more time.
Yeah. Start getting used to it now.
Yes. Actually, ma'am, firstly, SK, lovely session. That's really very, very nice. Just few questions which I like to ask, ma'am. Like, firstly, you said regarding the SWOT analysis.
Yes.
Now, if we go, and that's what I'm right now doing, that introspection part and what all things, because most of us have done multifarious activities on different job roles and different parts.
Correct.
That is, firstly, it's a very, very, I will not say very impossible, but it's quite difficult to understand exactly what you are good in.
That's exactly my point. हमें ही नहीं पता हमारे में क्या strengths है तो भेजेंगे कैसे अपने आप को?
Yes, ma'am. I will be very candid and honest and truthful. And that is what I am going through. Like ये भी किया है, किसमें अच्छा हूँ, वो चीज अभी like a lot of things. So now, based on your SWOT analysis and all the more inputs I have noted down, then you identify the industry or the sector which you want to go. Now, firstly, I have to introspect myself, then which industry I will be fitting in. So that needs to be very, very clear. So how to get that kind of clarity? Because since I personally or most of us don't know about the industry outside, just by talking or by in a session, we can just get a glance of a basic things, ki, okay, something like on this type and all. So how do we do that kind of
So there is
transition and that correct clarity of that particular industry on those sector? Because ma'am, like most of us, we will definitely try 2-3 type of CV or resumes at this present stage, ma'am. Like I'm an infantry guy, so I will be having admin, operations, security. This is the 3 things which I'm thinking. Now,
Yes.
going in तीन को लेके किन industry, किन sector को target करना है, how to get this kind of clarity? Okay, you can learn from that industry, the sector, knowledge, who are the leader, how, what is the business is all about, how can I fit into that role and all those things. But to get this kind of clarity so that I should not regret whenever I join somewhere, because there are incidents when officers whom I knew, they have gone to some industry or sector and then they found themselves misfit probably due to many reasons. And then again, it's very difficult to switching off. So those are the things which, and then वो है ना कि बाद में अरे यार ये गलती हो गई.
Okay, so in the interest of time, I got your question, and I'm totally with you that everybody is equally lost and in the same boat. Let's be open and frank, and I was also in the same. So it's very simple. It's a difficult journey. It's a difficult homework, but ye to each one has to do their own. So I won't say all 70 of you would go into security. Therefore, all of you look at these top 10 companies. There's no ready-made answer that I can serve you कि आप ये industry में जाओ और यहाँ पर ये है. But it is very important to spend time and do this difficult homework because you know your skill set, you know your aptitude and your liking, which kind of industry. Because अगर आपको travel नहीं करना है, like many of you have issues at home, you want to be in one place, but facility management and security is one जगह बहुत travel रहता है. In the last 5 years, in 20 days in a month, I've been traveling and I have 2 kids at home. My daughter's in a board exam now, but I've been traveling because my job is, I was a regional head and then a pan-India head. So पहले तो मैं महाराष्ट्र, गोवा और गुजरात में travel करती, then I was traveling all over the country. So when I left the army, I said I want to look after my kids, but I'm now traveling and leaving my kids. So, right, so the job is such, and I have to. So, what is it that you want, and which will give you that? And that kind of a job is commonly in which kind of industry? Even if it is not the industry, आपको क्या करना है? Which kind of role? Like, I would never be interested in security, especially physical security. It's just not my cup of tea. I'm not made out, I'm a very hands-on operations person. That's why I chose facility management, where every day is a new crisis, every day is new. So I felt I would be best suited in that. And lastly, ऐसा नहीं है एक बार आप FM में गए 2 साल निकाले फिर realize हुआ ये गलत था. You can't change. You can. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है पत्थर की लकीर कि आज आपने एक रोल सिक्योरिटी में लिया. I get so many offers even now to join security. Because admin and security are kind of sister functions, right? We work with them all the time. It's just that our bosses are different, our budgets are different, our teams are different, our vendor partners are different. But our roles are so together, we are complementary. So I can very easily go into a security role. I don't need to do too much of upskilling. But I have chosen this, but I can. So ऐसा कोई hard and fast नहीं है. But कौन से type के roles, which vertical, which industries, that only you can decide because that's again unique to each one.
Ma'am, just understood, ma'am. Like suppose someone goes to security or admin and he or she wants that, okay, I can handle this additional role of facility management also. Probably by learning, because obviously in Forge things are different, in corporate obviously learn, and you obviously have that inclination to, okay, this kind of job is actually appealing or it is interesting me, because you should do
So it's
that what you
possible.
like.
It's
That you can
possible.
also do.
Yes,
That you can also do.
absolutely. Because organization, especially like mine, they are very open to internal job postings. IJP we call them. So
Okay.
while you are doing one job, you learn about another role. And after you complete 2 years in one role, if there is an opportunity in another function, you can very well apply. And if you are able to convince them that you are the best option, most companies would rather promote someone from within than hire from outside, because you're already culturally fitting into the scheme of things. You already know us. It's just a different role. So that's perfectly possible. Within the same company also, it's possible. From company to company also, it's possible.
And then the last one, I'll not take much of the time, regarding the customizing and the tailoring of the CVs and the resume. Again, it depends on the JD and how you should do it. Catchwords, you should take out those catchwords, put it into the CV, and then make a sentence or something. So something on those lines, what you are trying to say?
Yes, yes. So for example, I have a CV and it talks about facility management, but now I'm looking at, a real estate leasing kind of a role. It's a pan-India associate director who's looking at leasing properties for, let's say, Bank of America. They want a pan-India head for leasing vertical. But I have done facility management. So in my facility management, what are the keywords in that JD of the leasing head? Okay, what are they looking for? How do I demonstrate कि मेरे ये वाले 20 years में मैंने ये वाले keywords इस role में थे? वो keywords उस role में जो मैंने काम किया, I will tweak that and ensure those keywords are there. It may not be 100% match. It could be a 60% match. So like I said, उसमें 10 देंगे keyword, 5 are must have and 5 are good to have. वो 5 must have में से 3 मेरे पास हो गए और good to have में से 2 मेरे पास हो गए. I am about the rest. बाकी interview तो आने दो. I will sell myself in such a way they won't look elsewhere.
When the keywords should be from the JD and the skills also, these two things needs to be included in your
So
resume.
you have
That's
to
what.
pick the keyword from the JD and see आपके experience में वो keywords आपने कहाँ वो किए थे, उसको फिर highlight करो, bold में करो. कि आप बोल रहे हो कि operations, तो मैंने यहाँ पर ये operational role किया है. आप कह रहे हो administration, तो ये मैंने 4 साल administration at this level, handling so many people with this many lakhs of monthly budget या year budget, I have handled. So वो जो मांग रहे हैं वो आपके CV में कहाँ है? Correlate आपने कर देना है. That's the customization.
And ma'am, one more thing, the quantification of this, ma'am, because generally we don't quantify in our armed forces. Like in the most of the CV, what has been I've seen, the quantification, how to do that kind of quantification. It's just guesswork, or like it's like
वो आपको approximate करना पड़ेगा. Like I'm from Ordnance, but I was a local purchase officer for a pan India COD Dehu. So I was in a pan India depot purchase officer. So I said that handling so many lakhs of items of inventory and having a approval authority of approximately 4 crores of PO monthly, I could approve as the LPO. Beyond that, then it would go to the next level. So I have quantified it. 4 crore का monthly मैं खरीद सकती हूँ. I have handled that kind of responsibility. So 4 CR monthly is what I have handled when I was 25 years old. So what are you talking about now? मैं इतना सारा और कर सकती. And then you can say I cannot give exact figures because it's sensitive. वो हमेशा वो क्लॉट ठोक सकते, but approximate तो डाल सकते हो. Crores में था, tens of crores में था, उतना तो डाल सकते हो.
Because that might be asked in the interview also. It suppose your CV gets selected. How have you come to this kind of figure? So you should have the justification with the data.
I cannot explain. I'm not at liberty to explain confidentiality. Period.
Okay, understood.
But fakeology mat karo, because
correct.
people on the other side of the table have either been in the army or have interviewed 101 army officers like you with similar profiles, so they can always cross check or they already would know. वो डम है ऐसा सोच के मत चलो.
Understood.
So be approximate, close to reality. You may not be very, very specific down to the decimal point. But if they ask you for too many details, sorry, for reasons of confidentiality, I cannot give beyond that. That's it. And nobody asks you, सबको पता है.
This kind of answer is
250
acceptable.
लोगों को manage किया, हाँ 250 लोगों को manage किया है. 250 के
we
240 भी होंगे, 260 भी हो सकते हैं. Approximately 250 people. एक कंपनी डेपो में, ऑर्डिनेंस डेपो में, एक सब डेपो में 250 लोग होते ही हैं. I managed about 250 people.
we'll have two more questions and then we'll end the session. Smita, please go ahead. Only one question. You're permitted to ask only one question.
Sir, I'll ask only one question. SK, first of all, ordnance officer myself, I'm very happy to see some ordnance officer on the other side. I just wanted to ask that what are the roles that Citibank are offering, and is there any veteran hiring program from the Citibank for the veterans?
So Citibank, whatever roles we have is there on our portal, careers at Citi. So you can just go to their website and see. There's a job code and there is a job description. You look at whichever job description interests you, take that job code and directly apply. And you can, specifically for Citi, you can even drop me an email that I have applied for this job code, and I would, share it with the HR from my end as well.
Thank you, SK.
And when you say ordnance officer, whenever you're selling yourself, we should always talk about supply chain and logistics.
Logistics.
Ordnance bola to unko samajh nahi aata. I'm a champion and expert in supply chain management.
Supply chain and logistics. Okay, thank you.
Rajat sir, go ahead with your question.
Hi, SK. I've got two quick questions instead of one. I'll ask two. One is it okay to shift me vertical right now? I'm in army, I'm in operations. Operations could be of different kinds. Is it okay? What do you suggest? Is it okay to switch the vertical?
Absolutely. You should just be able to justify. So why are you switching? If you give a convincing why, that's perfectly fine. I have had such diverse, verticals in my career. Sometimes I have run my own restaurant. I've been teaching in colleges. I've been working, in small scale business. I worked with banks. I worked with IT companies, facility management, and I've been on vendor role, client role. As long as you're able to justify why are you switching and why do you think you'll be able to handle it, it's perfectly fine.
And my second question is, I keep asking everybody, how do you compare two companies? One company is a, let's say, old school manufacturing company, and the other company is maybe a multinational. How do you compare in case you're getting maybe a decent enough role in both the companies? How do you pick a company?
So I will just tell you the way I do it. I don't look at the company from the perspective of an investor. I look at the company from what can it give me. So for me, what is important? Three things. One is the culture in the organization, because I'm a very people person. If the culture is a lot of, very bureaucratic, everybody is out to pull the other one down. Yahan to senior leadership chhod ke jati rehti hai. That means that the culture there is very toxic and negative. I wouldn't want to be part of that. So for me, first and foremost, it's the culture. How do I know the culture? I see the tenure of the senior leadership. If people in the senior leadership are more than 3-4 years in the same organization, culture must be good. There is stickiness. The second thing I see is the stability of the company in terms of, the last few years, how have they been performing? Any controversy, any scam, or are they reporting growth every year in terms of not just their profitability, but in terms of headcount? If they're growing in headcount, business is growing, it's a growing company, mujhe bonus or incentive milega. And the third one I see is what kind of salaries do they give? So there are two components to the salary, fixed salary and variable salary. Some people keep the fixed salary low and give you variable. जब आप मिला के बोलते तुमको पैकेज 40 लाख का देंगे, उसमें से 15 लाख वेरिएबल, और वेरिएबल के ऊपर वो छोटा सा लिखते कंडीशंस अप्लाई, और साला साल के एंड में देते ठेंगा. I don't want variable. I want my money every month in the bank. Period. बाद में तुमको काम अच्छा लगे तो एडिशनल बोनस और इंसेंटिव दे देना. That's the way I look at it. Who gives me more fixed pay month on month? Kaam kiya, paisa do, khatam. Incentive increment, that's your prerogative. Don't tie my salary to variable. I made a lot of mistakes, lot of misjudgments, but this is my learning. So 3 things for me. Who gives me more fixed pay? Who's a stable company and has a good growth path trend? Future ka to pata nahi, koi bhi predict nahi kar sakta. And the third one is tenure of the leadership and what kind of culture is it. That's how I will differentiate. बाकी सेक्टर कोई भी हो, फौजी हम जाएंगे, फिट हो जाएंगे, सीखना जो नहीं आता सीख लेंगे.